Are you on the line? No.
She is?
No.
All right, then we'll go ahead and get started here since everybody's ready to go. Call this meeting to order. This is the Public Information and Education Committee and special board meeting. So members of the board, then we'll get on with call and roll.
Happy to do so, Mr. Chairman. Director Scott Houston. Here. Chairman Harold Williams.
Here.
Director Desi Alvarez. Director Don Deere.
Here.
Director Gloria Gray. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Very good. We'll move on to the public comment.
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any requests for public comment, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there are any members of the public that would like to make public comment, please indicate so now by raising your virtual hand. And Mr. Chairman, I do not see any requests for public comment.
Okay, then let's go move on to presentations.
Mr. Chairman, we have no presentations.
And I don't, is there any action items for the calendar?
And we have no action items.
Then that brings us to the information calendar. So what I'd like to do is give control of the agenda to our general manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The first item that we have for you is item 6A. It's an update on our water industry career event coming up. This does begin on packet page 3. For this presentation and an introduction of a new staff member, we do have Amy Rocha, our manager of communication.
Good afternoon, members of the committee and board. I am really pleased to kick off this info item first with an introduction to our newest public information staff member. We have Jennifer Jensen here. She just started yesterday, so this is her first committee and second day after all the training. And Jennifer comes to us with a wonderful background in journalism. She served as a broadcast TV journalist, as well as expertise in executive communications, both in the public and private sector. So we'll be thrilled to have her lend her support to our communications efforts. So thank you. All right, with that,
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I appreciate the warm welcome. With that, I will transition, as EJ mentioned, on packet page 3. To give an update on the water industry career event that West Basin is hosting in March. So last month we provided just a brief overview that it was happening, and this month we have more details that it just goes into kind of how our thought process was, what our thought process was for organizing this event, and as well as a flyer that's an attachment to this item. But this memo summarizes our event planning efforts to date for our West Basin Municipal Water District Water Industry Career Night that will be hosted on Thursday, March 21st from 5:30 to 7 p.m. on the El Camino College campus. And an event flyer is included as attachment A. But overall, what we wanted to do is leverage our capacity as a wholesaler and our connection to our retailers and as employers in the area, as well as leverage our connections and strong relationships with our educators, given our K-12 education programs. And so we created an event that would invite our retailers to serve as booth participants, as well as encourage our educators and also our nonprofits and CBOs that have an interest in STEM education and water industry education to have more of a very stakeholder outreach driven event as opposed to general publicity for this event, because we really are targeting high school students, who are considering if they're going to go to college or not, or take a alternative career path. We're looking at students in college already. So whether that's community college or a four-year degree program who are considering what they want to do after college, as well as young adults who may have already graduated or not and are still determining how they want to take their career so that they can have, a stable career for themselves. And so with that target audience in mind, we wanted to have the program reflect a little bit more a broader look. What are pathways in? What are different types of jobs you might have? What are some of the training opportunities available? And what do real salaries and benefits look like? Because I think we know that it is something that is much desired these days and is, important not just to have a minimum wage, but a livable wage to make a career and be able to support, your families or whatever you decide to do. So the other thing we wanted to ask of our booth participants that we were inviting is to be able to offer some kind of demonstration just to keep it lively, to also ideally have some paid internships, apprenticeships, jobs available. And from our perspective as West Basin, we wanted to align with HR and the recruitment of a new cohort of interns. And so in working with their HR manager, we know that we'll be starting to advertise for our interns starting in the spring. So this is to coincide with that, to get people ready with some skills they may learn or some real insights on where they actually might want to, intern in the different departments. And then, of course, having that connection one-on-one with staff that are going to be at the booth, whether it's our organization or others. I think that covers, so in addition to the retailers that we've invited, we did also extend the offer to have a booth to a couple of educators in LA County with college or certification programs. So Los Angeles Trade Tech is one of them. Rio Hondo College is another one in Whittier, as well as an adult school in La Puente that has a certification program. And then, of course, offering it up to El Camino College, since we're there on site there. At present, and I'm on packet page 4, where I list out who from our retailers and booth participants have already confirmed their presence. So we have the City of Manhattan Beach, Golden State Water Company, Inframark, Los Angeles County Public Works, Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts, Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, Veolia, Water Replenishment District, and of course, West Basin. And we're continuing to outreach to the other folks that were invited and to see, even if they're not able to make it, perhaps there's some resources we can provide to that audience. I think the other thing I wanted to just note for you all is it's not listed. So the other section, the last paragraph in packet page 5 talks about our other partners, right? So not necessarily the ones that are going to be exhibiting and expected to have job information, but these are CBOs and our community organizations and nonprofits that work with the youth. And so this is where we can be pretty flexible, whether it's, Unite LA, we followed up with them regarding their clean tech program that they have for the youth, PD Jobs, and some of our, DEI focused organizations to make sure that we're spreading the word as far as possible and still trying to reach that student population. So I'm happy to make sure anybody you may have in mind or strong connections with is on the list. You can just work through the board secretary or office of the general manager to pass along any folks. And if we don't already have them on our list, and we have a pretty robust list, I'm happy to make that contact. We'll also be sending you an email that you can share yourself, a flyer that you can share yourself if you prefer that route. And we'll be providing updates on our program itself. So Janelle Onkayan is in charge of creating that. We wanted to create a really dynamic, high energy, free flowing format. So not a lot of talking or speaking, just intermittent updates announcing, perhaps to highlight a job opportunity, to note if a demonstration's about to happen, and we'll work with our partners to identify what those are. Also, for those directors that plan to attend, we can also, have you make some of those announcements if you'd like, or sit at one of the networking booths or tables that we'll have in the center for some one-on-one conversations or just guidance that we're planning to have. have. So we'll keep you posted on how you might participate if you're willing and able to join us. I think that's about it for it. We're right now, as far as our registration page and registration, there's a few numbers on there, but really, again, we're hearing back from our students, including feedback from one community college that wants to organize a group to carpool over there. So registration is optional. So, we're going to try to use that just to gauge numbers, but we'll see. You never know who ends up showing up and how far and wide the word reaches. But that will conclude my report on the event, but I'm happy to answer any questions or take any feedback or ideas that you want to share with me right now.
Director Houston.
Thank you very much, Amy. I think it all sounds wonderful. You beat me to the punch because I see you have Infomart, for example. I was just thinking who we may also reach out to. He said City of Manhattan Beach. So I'm assuming you probably reached out, that means to all of our retailers, right? So if it's like Lomita, El Segundo, the ones that do their own work, Inglewood. I also thought of Torrance. Did we invite Torrance, even though?
Not invite the city of Torrance, but I will include them as more of our kind of a partner.
Yeah.
And as food space allows too, if they're interested.
Okay. I was just thinking of all the groups. They are, they have their own water department, pretty big, et cetera, et cetera. If you would, send us when you have that chance, the flyer. I can help offline too. We can reach out to maybe, I don't know how you're doing the outreach on campus, but, through different professor folks
Or for El Camino itself?
Yes.
Yes, so we've got there's a lot of, we've gotten a lot of response from it. So we've gone through the dean of the technical, I'm blanking right now on the formal program name, industrial studies, basically.
Okay.
We're also working with their executive communications office. And I have a meeting on Friday to talk with another entity at El Camino that wants to build relationships with local government as well. So I'm open to whomever would like to exhibit or attend from El Camino. And then I also did send it through to the office of the Board of Trustees as well, just because I know we have made touch points with the trustees office too.
What about Cal State Dominguez Hills? I mean,
Your next.
you came from Dominguez Hills.
Yes.
I know it's different campus, but
Yes, they are on our,
doing all the outreach.
yeah, so it's primarily been through emails, either one-offs from Janelle or myself. We have an e-blast that's prepared for this week, and that's what I'll showcase for you. We do have different, over the years, we've collected different names. And so in the case of Cal State Dominguez Hills, I believe it's one of their sustainability programs and folks that we work with in outreach there. So I don't have the exact name in front of me, but we have reached out to Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Sounds like we're gonna have a really good, robust group of folks there. Obviously, we just want to make sure that we can have bodies that show up that evening. Otherwise, it sounds excellent so far. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I did hear, I don't remember hearing Harbor College, is it approached?
Yes, we did share it with Harbor College, and they were one of the first groups that were like, send me the flyer. I have a group that I want to bring over. So I'll make sure to follow up with them to see that they're all set and that they've responded really well.
And I especially want all the schools that are in our service area, like I guess West LA and our others too.
Yes, West LA College is also on the list.
Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? I was happy to hear Trade Tech. And I'm assuming that they're kind of really tied into this.
I hope that they can. I know that there's two very active instructors, and we'll coordinate with them to see what we can do to get them to have the evening free. I'm not sure of their status just yet, but yes, they've been very supportive of us and like to bring out their groups for the tours and whatnot. So yeah, I'm hoping that they could feature their programs to drive their enrollment.
Yeah, I graduated from Trade Tech a few years ago. And
A few years ago.
yeah, just a few. And I love that school, and I think they have a wonderful program. And I think we should always have them tight, and I think they always will be because of
They're one of the few schools with water focused curriculum in LA County and in our service area.
Very good. Keep me tied into, of course. Okay, anything else?
That's it for that item.
Okay.
So we'll move on to item 6B, it's our monthly communications update. And for this presentation, we do have Mel Miranda, our public information specialist too.
Good afternoon, Chair Williams, members of the Canadian Board. I want to start a communications update with a snapshot of our media coverage that can be found on packet page 10. Most of the earned media focus on the student art contest, as well as the new board positions. Our paid and other media coverage includes e-blast from the South Bay City Council of Government and ads placed in the school news roll call papers in the Hawthorne and Randolph Beach school districts. As always, all media is available in attachment B, which is located in packet pages 23 through 50. The next slide, please. One more. One more. On packet page 13 begins our top social media posts by platform. On Instagram, these include the student art contest, which I'll provide an update on in the program section, the water glossary word of the month, and the school tour reel. On the next slide, Facebook featured water bottle filling station recipients and water industry career highlights, with LinkedIn featuring Martin Luther King Jr. Day commemoration and spotlights on 2 of our interns. Moving on to the programs section, packet page 17 updates the student art contest. Since the mission of this packet, we have some updated numbers to share. We now stand at 33 art lesson requests for 835 students and 36 art supply kit requests that will serve 1,022 students. We are currently less than 1 month away from the submission deadline and look forward to seeing this year's entries. The next slide features the PV lateral construction outreach, and I'll hand this over to Amy for an update.
Great, thank you very much. Just a quick update on how construction outreach is going. We have a strong relationship with the engineering department, with the project leads there, and this effort has been spearheaded by Daryl Ramos Young on our team. But quickly, just, we've seen all the rain of the past 4 weeks. We've, seen different impacts for whether it's landslides and road closures and just, the saturation point for some of the roads. So in regards to how this has impacted our project, there's 5 rain days that are built into the construction schedule and have now been exceeded. So right now we're working with the engineering department to hear what impacts, if any, will result. So a final submission report is pending, and we'll figure out how to move forward with the construction schedule. But in the meantime, work is still being done in different parts of the alignment, and the Murakawa Communications Outreach Team still is remaining poised to mobilize as needed if they're gonna, maybe work on a different area than expected or kind of shift the schedule, and they remain flexible so that we can do that, based on approvals by the city to work on the. But I did want to just address the photo you may have seen just of a hillside that had fallen apart on the road up to through Torrance and over towards the boundary trail of Palos Verdes Estates. So just to be clear, that was not a West Basin work site. It was just on the pathway there. But however, the city of Torrance has requested that no work occur there until the city can properly stabilize and repair that roadway. So again, still waiting for some final assessments in terms of what that means for the alignment that goes along Vista, Montana. There are a few other sites along the way that did have some impacts by the rain, the Caltrans median, a PCH crossing in Torrance where there's some nighttime work going on, but no complaints or issues there. And then just some saturated soil on the boundary trail between Torrance and Palos Verdes Estates. As I was mentioning, our outreach still continues. And during the past week, the construction awareness team has completed some neighborhood canvassing, especially for the PCH crossing and the night work that's being done. Additional canvassing for some potholing work that's going on along 238th Street in Torrance. just responding to inquiries regarding some no parking signs. So pretty standard stuff. I think the real question is just when we collaborate with engineering to see how, if anything. I did also want to highlight, our staff has attended the first pump station construction coordination meeting too. So that's kind of the newest piece of this puzzle. And so we look forward to maintaining our reach. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Mel.
Thank you, ma'am. On the next slide, page 19 lists the career fair that Amy spoke on earlier. Again, taking place on March 21 at El Camino College. The next slide is an update on our water lab program. The first of these events was the public tour this past Saturday that Amy, Daryl, and I staffed, welcoming 22 guests who attended. Additionally, the first of 2 virtual chats occurs tonight at 6 p.m. And on March 13th, the first Know Your H2O class takes place, whose topic is maximizing water efficiency and conservation in your garden. For that class, we are partnering with Green Gardens Group, also known as G3, which is an industry professional landscaper. And Gus as well, who's just leading the charge on both fronts. The next slide, please. In our planning section, we have a release on the legislators of the year, next month's career fair, the phase 2 expansion of the Juanita Melinder McDonald Carson Regional Water Recycling Plant, and the new content management system migration. And on packet page 51, if you wouldn't mind, Desiree, please. This is the new edition. It's a fly for an upcoming vendor outreach webinar, which is led by Colette Ayala and takes place on April 3rd. This will be promoted to a targeted audience as West Basin is co-hosting this webinar with Apex Accelerators. The Metropolitan Water District, Water Replenishment District, the LA Department of Water and Power, and the Small Business Administration will also participate in this webinar to share tips on successful bidding for goods and services. That concludes our communications update. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions, Director Houston?
I said, no, so now this one, just so we know, how are you all advertising this particular webinar?
This will go out on the web news story. It'll be a flyer, which is online and in print, and through social media.
I'm just curious, and then we could do, is there a way maybe to send to our chambers of commerce in this region? Because a lot of them do like to push that out.
So I'll speak to that. So Colette is leading the charge there. She's been doing a lot of audits and assessments of those stakeholder groups that would be interested. So that is part of the outreach as well. Email directly from our procurement lead there, as well as having the fellow sister agencies and whatnot to also share through their networks. So it is going to a business audience and those type of stakeholders like the chamber.
Perfect. I really, even when I've been at functions and events in some of the chambers recently, I've heard them talking about promoting how to work with public agencies. So I think they're all open to helping get the word out.
And I'll just add too, so tomorrow procurement team will be at the MetWorks event. And so they will be bringing this information to make sure that folks that do stop by our booth and talk to us know about this resource and opportunity as well. So I believe there's that one tomorrow and one other one before this event that they'll also be promoting to that audience that's already built in a natural audience there. So events as well.
One other question, and that is on the Know Your H2O class, March 13th. Where's that held at? At the plant?
Yes.
Okay. And is that in the evening? What time is that?
From 6 to 8.
6 to 8, okay. And do we know how many people have even RSVP'd yet, or is it early?
It's still early. We're
Early?
gonna be deploying e-blast on Saturday, then the Saturday prior to the event as well. So we should ramp up our numbers and we'll have a better idea. We can have to keep you updated.
Is there a flyer for that one that you guys have separate or not?
We have a brochure as part of our education or general public education programming. So all of the dates are listed along with our speakers bureau. So we can get you some of those flyers if you don't already have them. There's a water lab.
Something that we can put on social media and then.
Oh, yeah, we do promote these on social, and South Bay Environmental Services does as well. So social graphic.
Yes. If you could send me one of those, that'd be awesome. That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? No. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. So this brings us to item 6C. It's the direct install disadvantaged community parkway grass replacement pilot program. This begins on packet page 52. And for this presentation, we have Matt Bay, our Manager of Water Policy and Resources Development.
Thank you, EJ, and good afternoon, directors. As EJ said, we're on page 52 of the agenda packet. Just to give a little background, since 2015, West Basin's various grass replacement programs have resulted in about 3.5 million square feet of turf removal from residential, CII, and public agency properties throughout the region. The grass removal programs have been highly successful, due in no small part to the leadership of our board, which has consistently invested in these programs for the past decade. Despite this success, West Basin and other water providers continue to face challenges toward achieving widespread adoption of climate resilient landscapes in our communities, and especially in our low income and disadvantaged communities. One of the primary obstacles to replacing grass lawns with drought tolerant or native landscapes is cost. Even in the case of West Basin's rebate programs, which are some of the most progressive and customer friendly in the state, residents must fund most or all of their project costs upfront, with partial reimbursement not occurring until 90 days or so after completion. For many residents, the reality is that paying upfront costs is just not feasible for them in moving forward with a grass replacement project. Taking our own Grass Replacement Plus program as an example, we currently provide disadvantaged community residents with a $5 rebate per square foot, which is up from $3, and a free landscape design valued at about $2,500. This is a big step up from what most agencies provide, which is often just a pass-through of Metropolitan's $2 per square foot rebate. While we have no problems getting people to sign up for this program and to receive their free landscape designs, convincing them to take that next step of moving forward with their projects continues to be a challenge. And it's my belief that this is primarily due to the upfront cost burden that residents must bear prior to beginning their projects. So with that in mind, staff is seeking to develop a new water use efficiency pilot program for our disadvantaged community areas that builds upon our Grass Replacement Plus program and removes the critical cost barrier that prevents many of our projects from moving forward. This new program would be managed what's known as a direct install program, which means all the work would be provided with no upfront funding required from residents. And in the case of this specific program, as we're proposing it, no funding would be required from the residents at all. Instead, West Basin would work with the landscape design and construction specialists to install grass replacement projects at no cost to residents. Again, staff is developing this as a pilot program. Direct install of landscapes is a new concept for our agency, but it is one that we're very excited about exploring as a case study for our region. This program would target grass removal in disadvantaged community residential parkways. And we're looking to provide about 20 to 25 parkway landscape renovations through this pilot program. Before I provide more details, I do want to note that parkways are the areas that lie between the street and the sidewalk in front of residential properties. Other names for the parkway include parking strip or sidewalk strip. Now, most residential parkways are pretty similar in size and shape, which is a good thing, as it will allow us to streamline certain aspects of the program. Rather than provide each participant with their own unique landscape design, we would have our landscape vendor develop 5 or so design templates that residents can choose from. This will simplify the design process and would be a big cost saver, as custom designs can run, north of $2,000 each. As this is a pilot program, the other thing that we want to do is to choose a fairly targeted radius for projects together, possibly by neighborhood and maybe even by street. On page 55 of the packet, there's a map of our service area that shows disadvantaged communities that score in the top quartile of EnviroScreen 4.0, which measures socioeconomic and environmental impacts. So these are some of the communities that are most impacted from an economic standpoint, as well as from an environmental standpoint, be it pollution or other factors. So as you can see, hopefully, most of these areas fall in the communities of Inglewood, Hawthorne, Gardena, Lawndale, Carson, and some of our unincorporated areas. So our goal would be to identify maybe 3 to 5 targeted areas to administer this program. Rather than have projects spread out all over the place, we think it could be more compelling to see 4 or 5 homes in a specific neighborhood, all with these beautiful new landscapes that could inspire other neighbors and visitors to the neighborhood to consider their own projects. In these participating neighborhoods, we would expect there to be lots of interest from other homeowners about the new landscapes, and we would hope and envision word of mouth helping to propagate other projects in the neighborhood. Now, one aspect that I haven't discussed yet is how we would pay for the program. I do have good news in that regard. So this program would be funded entirely through Metropolitan's member agency administered program, also known as MAP. So just to be very clear, there's no ultimate cost impact on West Basin. That said, I do want you to understand procedurally how this would all work. So MAP funding is provided to West Basin on a reimbursable basis. So when MAP funded programs are approved by Metropolitan, the member agency makes the needed expenditures and then submits the reimbursement request to Metropolitan, which can then take up to a few weeks or so to process the reimbursement. Staff has already discussed this new project concept with Metropolitan's MAP team, which has essentially approved the program as being eligible for funding. We wanted to be sure that the program concept was sound before we moved forward with it. For the past 2 years, West Basin was allocated a little over $500,000 for Metropolitan for its MAP expenditures. And we expect to spend most of that on other programs and needs, but we do expect there to be some leftover funding available in this fiscal year, which we would direct toward the new program for the remainder of the fiscal year. We also expect to receive additional MAP funding for the next 2-year cycle, which begins in July. So our thought would be we would carry this program over into the next fiscal year to access the new round of funding. Staff issued an RFP for this program at the beginning of the month. Bid proposals were based on completing 25 projects, which would include the following responsibilities: developing the 5 landscape design templates, developing content for outreach and education materials, performing pre-project site visits, removing the grass, installing the new landscape and water efficient irrigation systems, performing the post-project follow-up visits, and hosting a hands-on customer workshop at one of the yards or parkways in one of those neighborhoods. We received 3 competitive bids for the project, and following a review of the bid, staff agreed on a recommended vendor, which is Ecotech. Ecotech was the lowest bidder, but in addition, they currently assist us with our Grass Replacement Plus program, and they have recent experience in managing a direct install parkway program, just like this one would be, or very similar to it, in an adjacent county. So staff feels pretty confident that they would do a great job for us. Ecotech's bid came in at approximately $142,000. And if we include some additional funding for canvassing, we want to make sure that we understand that the neighborhoods we're targeting have grass in their parkways. That would be a requirement, grass and irrigation, as well as targeted outreach. We're looking at about $150,000 total cost for the program. Our most recent projections for our remaining MAP funding this year is about $50,000, which we would aim to fully exhaust, and then the remaining funding would again carry into the next fiscal year. The other great thing about this program is that it is fairly scalable. We can always scale it up or down if we needed to stay within budgetary limits. Before I open this up to your questions and feedback, I want to note that today's item is informational, but staff is recommending the committee to forward the proposed program to the full board for consideration. The board of directors action item would be to authorize the general manager to enter into an agreement with Ecotech Services for implementation of the pilot program. And again, we think this will be a very impactful program for our disadvantaged communities. We expect it to be very popular, and I believe that it should run very smoothly since we have a landscape vendor in place that has run this type of program before. So with all that said, at this time, happy to address any questions or concerns from the committee.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add just a few things. This program was, as Matt mentioned, vetted not only internally, but externally with Metropolitan Water District. The concept behind this is that West Basin Municipal Water District, as a member agency, does receive available funding under the MAA program that Matt mentioned. Very few member agencies are able to expend all of the funds that they're allowed to utilize over that 2-year biennial budget. Metropolitan Water District is in the process of working on concepts to be a little bit more flexible as far as how member agencies move forward with all of their funding. We've always done an excellent job of getting a lot of funding for not just our rain barrel program, but of course our water harvest event and several other aspects. But this program, and the reason for the slight rush on that is because we do have funding available to us. And in speaking with Metropolitan Water District staff, we could actually pull from that money in this fiscal year. As Matt mentioned, we could spread that into the coming year, so it would be 100% paid for by that. But Metropolitan Water District staff also stated that if we were to possibly spend more than what we have available in this biennial budget, we could possibly get additional funding even within this fiscal year. So we might be able to just really maximize the use of a program like this in this fiscal year and have it in the year following. So that's the reason for the rush. The reason we're bringing it for you today, and the reason that we authorized the RFP, because we wanted to see exactly what those costs potentially could be to see if we could get a program like this that would be extremely helpful to our disadvantaged communities this fiscal year, and then of course in years ahead. So with that, as Matt mentioned, he's happy to answer any questions that I can fill in if needed.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Director Houston, questions?
Thank you very much. I think overall it sounds like a great program. The good thing is, if you have the map back up there, is there are parts of all 5 divisions that have qualified properties. Because obviously sometimes that does not happen with some of our programs. So however this comes together, my only request would be if you can make it as equitable as possible amongst the 5 divisions. I think that would be good, because we each have areas that we qualify. So that would be my request. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? About Director Alvarez.
My apologies for being late in the meeting. First, I'd like to commend staff and the district on this program. I think it's a wonderful program. Turf replacement is a wonderful conservation measure. It's going to go a long way to help this region meet long-term water supply. So congratulations on bringing this forward. Helping out disadvantaged communities is critical. And I think that anything we can do in that direction would be really worthwhile. So I would be very supportive of moving forward with this and accelerating the program. The amount of funding that we can get from it will be critical. It's unfortunate that in looking at the biennial budget at Metropolitan, that there was a lot of what I'll call water bubbles that, well, if we're looking to have to tighten our belts, we need to maybe cut back on the amount of money that we spend on the nation. I think that it's not a very worthwhile road to pass, but I'm fearful that we'll see some conservation cutbacks potentially at Metropolitan. So if we can accelerate this, that'd be good.
Thank you very much, Director Alvarez, and I just wanted to share the same sentiment to staff, Matt Bay's leadership on this, of course, Gus Meza, our interns, and even our former conservation specialist, Jennifer Vasquez, because this is team effort as far as putting it together, but also finding an opportunity to really fund a program for free in the West Basin service area, utilizing the NAAP program.
Very good. Director Nutting. Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. And what I really like about this is getting the community started without them having to spend money ahead of time, because a lot of them don't see the value of having to put out money for something that they see have always in their entire life saw as being free. That's water. So I think this is a great idea and support it 100%. So when will this come back? You said it could be an action item today.
It'll be at the board
Board
meeting
meeting, I
on
mean, yeah.
Monday.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Well, I don't see a problem with that. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That brings us to item 6D, which is a monthly conservation program update. And for this presentation, we have Gus Mesa, our Senior Water Policy and Resources Analyst, as well as Matt Bay, the Manager of Water Policy and Resources Development.
Thank you, EJ, and good afternoon, Chairman Williams, committee and board members. Matt and I will be providing this month's conservation update, and we'll be going through the PowerPoint that begins on packet page 64. So we can go to the next slide. I am now on packet page 65. This first update is on our direct install partnership program with SoCalGas. On this slide, you can see that we have reached our goals for some of the devices. This program is scheduled to end next month on March 31st. So we're at the point where we're starting to wrap up the final steps of the program. It's been a pretty smooth program for us since SoCalGas has served as the lead on this program throughout the duration. Staff continues to meet with SoCalGas on a monthly basis to discuss the successes and challenges of the program. While we didn't hit every single one of the devices here, we do see that there's opportunities to replacing high efficiency toilets and shower heads. And we also installed smart sprinkler controllers at 50%, over 50% of the properties. So we saw some successes there using that device to conserve water outdoors. This program has come at no cost to West Basin, with funding being provided by Metropolitan's MAA or MAP program. Next slide, please. So here you can see the number of participants by city and county. We provided 200 families with free devices and installations through this program. Next slide, please. And as reported in prior months, we've been using these heat maps to plot the installation so we can see where we need to focus more marketing. Our goal has been to spread this out throughout the area evenly as possible. And I do want to thank our intern, Cherish, for developing these maps and keeping them updated. She's done a great job on that. So as mentioned, this project is scheduled to end next month. So our partners are making a final push right now, a marketing push, so we can get more devices installed by next month. And so far, we've stayed within the agreement budget, and we are projecting to be just under budget or at budget for this project next month. So now I'll move on to page 68. These are the rain barrel events, unless there's any questions on that program. Not, I'll keep. Okay. Oh, there is a question. Okay.
I'll ask quickly, what's the timeline when this project ends, Gus?
It'll end on March 31st, next month.
Okay, so coming up. So what do we do at the end of that? Do we have to report some results to them or to any organization?
This is being funded through MWD through their MAP program. So we've been invoicing them and providing them with reports. So that's the organization that we're reporting to.
The question would be, I think, after it's all closed out, is there a way that we highlight the accomplishment? And I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that staff can put together kind of a closeout report that highlights all the data and the statistics from the program for the last 2 years that it's been running. So we'd be happy to do that.
I think that would be excellent, because then the other thing we could do is incorporate that maybe strategically in a certain presentations we're doing, as well as you all could look at there's a conference opportunity or some other place to showcase it. If the partners are good with it, we should put that as something we have in our back pocket.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm moving on to our rain barrel program. As you know, we've successfully completed all of the events, And staff has been working to schedule the check presentations. And we've already conducted check presentations for Division 1, 3, and 5. And we have scheduled the presentations for Divisions 2 and 4. For Divisions 2, we've invited the 2 volunteer groups that assisted us, PB Jobs and Morningside High School, to our March board meeting for the presentations. And for Division 4, we have scheduled a presentation with Culver City Rotary, March 13th, and with the Boys and Girls Club of Malibu on Friday, March 15th. Right now, we have a range of time from 2 to 4 because I've been working closely with Tammy, trying to pair up 2 presentations that day. So we're working on that right now. But this one is set for that day. So we look forward to these upcoming presentations. We will also be taking the lessons learned from the recent events and the responses from the Rain Barrel survey that was recently conducted to explore potential updates to the program ahead of this year's next program. Next slide, please. This is an update on our joint partnership project with Las Virgenes Municipal Water District and LA County Waterworks District 29. This is a brief status update. As part of the IRWIP process, there are a few agreements that need to be finalized. DWR has finalized its agreement with LA County Flood Control District, and the Flood Control District is now finalizing the agreement with Las Virgenes, who's the local project sponsor, the lead agency for this 3-way project. The Flood Control had to add some additional information into the 2-way MOU with Las Virgenes, which will also be included into the 3-way MOU between us, Las Virgenes, and LA County Waterworks District. That's how the funding will flow from the state to the county to Las Virgenes and to us through these agreements. We know this takes a little bit of time, but we continue to work with our partners to keep this moving along. And at the same time, staff recently issued a request for proposals to hire the project manager. West Basin's role in this project is to hire the project manager who will work with the partners to develop the marketing, outreach, and implement this new project. Staff and its partners will be scoring the proposals and presentations shortly, and will be recommending the best respondent to the board in the near future. That is the last of my updates here before I turn this over to Matt. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Next slide, please. I have one more slide. There it is. Okay, thank you. I forgot it. Thank you. Recently, we were approached by an organization called the El Segundo Blue Butterfly Restoration, the Conservancy. The El Segundo Blue Butterfly Conservancy, excuse me, reached out to us, to the district and staff for possible involvement in this project that they're working on. As you can see from these photos, the group and its partners are working on restoring different areas throughout the city of El Segundo to increase the habitat for the endangered blue butterfly. Butterfly is currently limited to certain areas, so by installing California friendly native plants, the group and the city of El Segundo is hoping to spread the butterfly to other areas. They currently have some funding for phase 1 that they received from Chevron and the El Segundo Rotary Club. This will help pay for the plants. And they would also like to include West Basin as one of its supporting partners. At the group's request, staff provided them with some West Basin branded gardening gloves for their planting project. They were very grateful for the gloves we provided them. And as part of phase 1, they plan on installing native plants along the hillside that you can see there, the bottom photo. They're going to be working on this project this month and next month with volunteers installing the plants. And they also plan on conducting a ribbon cutting ceremony in April during Earth Month. They're continuing to identify other areas throughout the city of El Segundo for further projects. And so staff is going to continue to stay involved with this group, and we'll keep the board informed on other opportunities and projects that they're working on. And that is my last update. Take any comments, questions you may have?
Questions?
Yes.
I will just give a comment. I just want to say because a number of these folks we run into in the community when we're out and about, and a lot of times I just put them through with EJ or staff. So I just want to commend staff because you guys jump on it and really work with these different organizations, and that's why this came about. So I can't tell you how happy I am that when these requests come through, when people have different things going on across our region, our staff is really good to assist the board with the follow-up and these partnerships. So I just have to say, it's really amazing. And we get really good feedback separate because these partners, you know, they email me, see us somewhere, and they say how grateful they are to West Basin staff. So I'm just gonna give you guys some kudos for that because, you know, thank you for when the requests come through. I know it's just one more plate, but it's very meaningful. So thank you very much, Gus and team for that.
Anyone else?
Continue with this item update, if that's okay, Chair.
Okay.
So I'm now on page 73 of the agenda packet. So I'll be talking about our different grass programs. And I just want to say, I guess before I start, that I've been doing turf replacement programs for 14 years, and it's so great to have a board that's invested in it. And thank you for your remarks today about that. And we want to keep pushing it forward. So thank you. Before I get into my update on the grass replacement programs, I wanted to recognize the work of Gus Mesa, as well as our two interns, Genesis and Cherish, who are supporting these programs during this time of transition, as we are in the process of hiring a replacement for Jennifer Vasquez, who previously managed our grass removal rebate and related programs. There's a lot of work that goes into keeping these programs running smoothly, and the team has really stayed on top of things the past couple of months to continue meeting the needs of our communities and our program participants. From a timing perspective, it's actually okay because January and February are usually somewhat slower months for turf programs. But with that said, we continue to be very proactive in connecting with our program participants, including our public agencies. And we're working with the PI team to continue promoting each of our programs to achieve our goals for the fiscal year. I'm anticipating a quick transition for a new hire, and I'm excited to have their fresh eyes and new perspective that they should be able to offer on how we can make our grass programs even better. So let's now move to page 74 of the packet, where I'll start with the Grass Replacement Plus program. This is the program that provides free landscape designs, a larger $5 per square foot rebate, and free trees to residents in our disadvantaged communities. Our primary goal for this program is to provide 35 residents with free landscape designs that they can use to develop their grass removal projects. After seeing a couple of potential participants drop out in the last few weeks, we now stand at 30 design packages that have been distributed to residents so far. So we have 5 remaining designs to give away. Our team is working with the PI department to put together a targeted outreach effort to ensure that the final 5 packages are distributed quickly. I'd say that getting the first 30 packages to interested residents required relatively little outreach, which was very encouraging and should allow us to secure the final 5 participants without too much additional work. And then our next goal for the program is to encourage and assist as many of the 35 participants as possible to move forward with constructing their projects. This is ultimately what will generate water savings at these properties and in these communities. And so this is definitely a big goal for us to try to hit. And so we have the list of everybody who's received the designs. We continue to check in with them to see how their projects are or where they are in the process. And again, we want to try to maximize that number that move forward with their projects. On page 75, you can see the breakdown of participants by city and community. The majority have come from the cities of Carson, Hawthorne, and Gardena, with other cities and county areas also being represented. I'll move now to page 77, where we can see an updated snapshot of the residential grass replacement applications received to date. We did receive a total of 4 new applications in January, Again, December, January are typically slower months for applications. But we expect that to pick up in the coming spring and early summer months when more people put in new landscapes. Water policy and PI staff are also hoping to develop a new outreach initiative that will leverage funding from a U.S. Bureau of Reclamation grant that expires later this year. Staff hopes to generate additional interest in the program as we could be seeing a bit of a stagnation due to California coming out of the drought period. Moving to page 79, you can see a schedule of our upcoming TURF classes. Staff continues to promote these classes, and we're also looking at a new opportunity to co-host an in-person class with the city of Long Beach that would draw participants from both the West Basin service area and the city of Long Beach. We're currently looking at potential class dates in May, but we still have to finalize those dates. We also have a West Basin chats scheduled tonight that Gus will be leading. He'll be informing the residents about our grass programs, rebates, and he'll instruct them on what they need to do to apply for the rebate. I was told just real time here that we've got 76 people that are signed up, which is a great number, but we'll have to see what kind of show up rate we end up with, but it's a really good number to kind of start from. So let's go now to page 81 for an updated number of applications and square footage for our CII and public agency programs. We recently received interest from the city of Lomita for a street median project. Staff is assisting the city and has scheduled a site visit for this Friday. Our landscape designer will measure the project area and we'll work providing them with a landscape design that they can use to apply for the rebate. On page 82 and the pages that follow, you can see information about a new public agency project that's being developed at West LA College in Culver City. Project proposes to remove approximately 12,500 square feet of irrigated grass to install a native plant microforest, which that's the first time I've ever heard of a microforest. It sounds pretty cool. They will add educational signage throughout the area and install water efficient sprinklers and smart controllers. West LA College formed a partnership with the Northeast Trees and LA Microforests organizations to design and execute the project. Their turf rebate application was approved last week, and it has already received a pre-inspection visit from the SoCal Water Smart program. The college and its partners also plan to have a community planting day later in the year, and they'll help them out with maintenance of the project, which is very important to these types of projects, that they're maintained and look nice in future years. So West Basin will explore opportunities to coordinate with those partners for the planting day. Staff has a site visit with them next week to meet with the school's environmental staff to walk the project area, learn more about the project, and to determine whether there are any other ways that we can support implementation of the project. We're also hoping to document and photograph the project through its various phases throughout the summer. We'll continue to bring back information on this project as it proceeds. Also want to mention that staff continues to reach out to the Wind Museum in Culver City about possible partnership opportunities for the street medians in front of their property. We're exploring different ways to help the museum transition to a more climate appropriate and sustainable landscape. For a full list of ongoing and pending public agency projects, please see pages 61 and 62 of the memo. And that's the last of my updates on our grass replacement programs, but please let me know if you have any further questions.
And Mr. Chairman, I know that was a lot of information. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions. I do see that our entire engineering operations team has come to listen about conservation, so I'm excited to see and hear that. But we're happy to answer questions. We do have one additional item. It's our water bottle filling station update. I don't know that there's that much to present on in relation to that, given the time. However, I do want to give our staff member, Tammy Hurley-Hyde, who's been managing the program, a great deal of credit, because we do have not just 5 applications that have come through, but if you turn to packet page 90, you can see that we have 5 additional pending inquiries that she's continuing to work with all of our cities on. And that is to her credit, because we're constantly reaching out to all 17 of our cities, unincorporated areas, and our school districts to get applications. So if you have any questions about that program, which would be under item 6E, we can answer any questions. Otherwise, we can transition to close out this meeting.
For the meeting. Let's close it out.
All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and close out. And we'll catch up. Anything that's that we missed the next meeting. We have time.
Thank you, everyone.